Hey everyone, and a big welcome back to Everyday English Pod. I'm Leo, and today we're honing in on a superpower for English learners: active listening. It's not just about your ears picking up sounds, it's about your mind truly engaging with the message, catching those subtle undertones, and responding thoughtfully. Whether you're chatting casually or in a more formal setting, becoming an active listener is your secret weapon for connecting with others, dodging those awkward misunderstandings, and boosting both your listening and speaking skills. We'll be breaking down practical tips, how to laser focus on the speaker, ask those crucial clarifying questions, and use your body language to show you're all in. Through everyday examples, you'll see just how active listening can make your English conversations flow more smoothly and feel more real. So, let's get started and unlock the secrets to sharper listening and more natural English conversations. To really master active listening, the first step is to be fully present in the conversation. That means dialing down the distractions. When you're truly listening, you're not just processing the words. You're trying to grasp the core idea, the emotions bubbling beneath the surface, and every important detail. Picture this. You're at a language exchange, and someone is sharing their travel experiences. Instead of rehearsing what you want to say next or glancing at your phone, lock in on their words and their body language. This will give you a much richer understanding, not just the facts of their trip, but also their excitement and maybe even some unspoken challenges. It's about understanding the whole package of communication. One fantastic way to flex your active listening muscles is by summarizing or echoing back what the speaker has just said. For example, if your language partner says, "I'm feeling a bit homesick lately, missing my family," you could respond with, "So, it sounds like you're missing your family a bit right now?" This shows them you're truly hearing them and that you're understanding their feelings. It also acts as a quick check to make sure you haven't missed any key information. It's a simple technique with a powerful impact. Another cornerstone of active listening is the art of asking clarifying questions. Don't be afraid to say when something isn't clear. Instead of nodding along blankly or pretending you've got it, use phrases like, "Could you explain what you mean by that?" Or, "Could you give me an example?" This keeps the conversation crystal clear and shows the speaker you're genuinely invested in understanding them fully. It keeps you engaged and learning. Active listening also involves tuning into those nonverbal cues, body language, tone of voice, facial expressions. These often speak volumes, sometimes even louder than the words themselves. For instance, if someone is speaking in a soft, hesitant tone, they might be sharing something personal or sensitive. If their arms are crossed and they're avoiding eye contact, they might be feeling uncomfortable or trying to steer clear of a certain topic. Being aware of these nonverbal signals makes you a more empathetic and effective listener, allowing you to respond with greater sensitivity. One of the beautiful outcomes of active listening is the way it builds trust in relationships. When people sense that you're truly hearing them, they're more likely to open up and share more authentically, whether it's a casual chat or a more serious discussion. In a work or study environment, showing that you value someone's input through active listening creates a strong foundation for communication and collaboration. When you understand your team members' perspectives and respond thoughtfully, it minimizes confusion and strengthens teamwork. It's a powerful way to show respect for your colleagues' ideas. And here's a bonus. Active listening actually sharpens your own speaking skills. When you're fully immersed in listening, you're absorbing new vocabulary, picking up useful phrases, and even noticing different ways people structure their sentences. This exposure will naturally make your own English sound more fluent and natural over time. Your ability to truly listen enhances your confidence and effectiveness when it's your turn to speak. So, whether you're chatting with friends, colleagues, or even striking up a conversation with a stranger, remember the goal isn't just to understand the words, but to connect with the person in a meaningful way. Practicing active listening takes time and conscious effort, but it's one of the most potent tools for improving your English communication skills. Keep at it, and you'll be amazed at how much more confident and fluent you become. To keep boosting your active listening skills, remember the power of patience and undivided attention. It sounds simple, right? But in our busy world, we're often juggling tasks or getting sidetracked by our devices. However, by consciously focusing solely on the speaker and the conversation at hand, You're not only showing respect but also creating a more positive and productive interaction. Imagine you're catching up with a friend about their weekend. Put that phone away, make eye contact, and really show genuine interest in their story. Another golden rule of active listening is to resist the urge to interrupt. It can be tempting to jump in with your own thoughts or opinions, but allowing the other person to finish their sentence, their thought, without cutting them off demonstrates that you value their perspective. If you interrupt frequently, it can make the other person feel unheard and might even create a bit of tension. Instead, take a breath, wait until they've finished speaking, and then share your thoughts or ask those follow-up questions. This keeps the conversation flowing smoothly and allows for a more thoughtful exchange. While you're practicing active listening, pay attention to your own body language too. A simple nod while someone is speaking signals that you're following along and encourages them to continue. Similarly, leaning in slightly or tilting your head can convey interest and attentiveness. These small, often unconscious gestures can make a big difference in how connected you feel to the conversation and can also help you pick up on those subtle nonverbal cues from the other person. Active listening also strengthens your ability to retain information. When you're paying close attention to what's being said, you're much more likely to remember key details and important points. This is incredibly helpful in professional settings where understanding instructions, key facts, or ideas can make a significant difference in your work. One way to test and improve your active listening skills is through reflection. After a conversation, take a moment to recap what the other person said. Can you summarize their main points? Were there any details you missed or didn't fully understand? Reflecting on your conversations can help you pinpoint areas for improvement and track your progress in becoming a more active listener. Finally, remember that active listening is a skill you can always refine with practice. The more you consciously practice, the more natural it will become. Start by focusing on just one conversation a day where you actively listen without distractions. As you make this a habit, you'll notice how much easier it becomes to follow the conversation, ask meaningful questions, and contribute in a way that keeps the discussion flowing. By consistently applying these techniques, you'll find that your ability to understand and respond in English will improve significantly. You'll also build stronger relationships, both personally and professionally, as people will genuinely appreciate your ability to engage deeply in conversations. Active listening is a powerful tool that not only makes you a better communicator but also helps you become more fluent and confident in English. Keep practicing, stay focused, and soon you'll see just how much more effective your English conversations become. As you continue to develop your active listening skills, you might also notice that it becomes easier to pick up on the context of a conversation. Understanding the broader situation can help you craft more accurate and relevant responses. For example, if a colleague mentions that they're having a challenging time with a project, being able to read between the lines and offer support or a suggestion shows empathy and engagement. It's not just about hearing the words, but also understanding the feelings and intentions behind them. Another important element of active listening is staying patient, especially when the conversation gets complex or lengthy. Sometimes, people might take a little longer to express their ideas clearly, and it's important to give them that space. Rushing the conversation or interrupting can lead to misunderstandings, and you might miss out on crucial details. By allowing the speaker to fully express themselves, you ensure that you have the whole picture and can respond more appropriately. It's also useful to actively engage with the speaker by making thoughtful comments or asking for their opinion on a related topic. For instance, if a friend talks about a recent experience they had at work, you might ask, "How did you handle that situation?" Or, "What do you think the best solution would be?" These kinds of questions show that you're not just passively listening but also thinking critically about what's being said. It also helps the conversation stay interactive and ensures that both of you are actively participating in the exchange. Active listening also involves the skill of being present. This means minimizing distractions like checking your phone or multitasking while someone is speaking. When you fully focus on the conversation, it shows respect for the speaker and allows you to understand the message more clearly. In group settings, this might mean directing your attention toward the person speaking and not letting your mind wander. When you're present, you're better able to follow the flow of the conversation and can respond more naturally and thoughtfully. Another strategy to improve your active listening is using silence to your advantage. When the speaker pauses, resist the urge to immediately fill that silence with your own thoughts. Instead, allow the moment to sit, giving both you and the speaker time to process the information. This can be especially useful in conversations where the topic is deep or emotional. Pausing after the speaker finishes can also give you a moment to organize your thoughts and respond with a more thoughtful reply. As you practice active listening, you might also begin to notice patterns in the way people communicate. Some individuals may use more direct language, while others might be more indirect or use a softer tone. Recognizing these patterns can help you understand how to respond in a way that aligns with the speaker's style. For example, if someone speaks in a more formal tone, you might want to respond with similarly polite and respectful language, while in more casual conversations, your responses can be more relaxed and conversational. One of the most rewarding aspects of active listening is that it helps you develop a deeper connection with others. People naturally enjoy being around those who listen actively because it makes them feel understood and valued. When you listen attentively, people are more likely to open up, share more, and trust you with deeper thoughts and feelings. This trust and connection are essential for building long-term relationships, both in your personal life and in professional settings. As you practice active listening in different contexts, such as at work, in social situations, or even while studying, you'll begin to see improvements in your overall communication skills. You'll find it easier to follow conversations, understand various perspectives, and respond in ways that move the discussion forward. Additionally, being an active listener will boost your confidence, knowing that you are fully engaged and contributing in a meaningful way. One practical tip for improving your active listening is to set specific goals for each conversation. For example, if you're in a meeting at work, aim to focus on understanding one key point that the speaker is making. Or if you're having a conversation with a friend, try to focus on understanding how they're feeling about the situation. These small, achievable goals will help you become more mindful of your listening and can gradually improve your skills over time. Active listening also involves being flexible in your approach. Sometimes, you may need to adapt to the situation, especially if the conversation takes an unexpected turn. If you find that the speaker is going off on a tangent, try to steer the conversation back on track by politely asking, "Could you explain how that connects to the main topic?" Flexibility helps keep the conversation relevant and ensures that you stay engaged even when things get off course. Lastly, don't forget that active listening is a skill that requires constant practice. Like any other skill, the more you use it, the better you get. Whether you're engaging in a formal business meeting, a casual chat with friends, or even listening to a podcast, make sure to practice listening actively. Over time, this will not only improve your English but also make you a more effective and compassionate communicator in any language. Remember, active listening is a two-way street. It's not just about hearing what the other person is saying, but also about creating a space for a meaningful and respectful conversation. The more you engage with this skill, the more confident you'll become in your English communication and the stronger your relationships will be, whether in your personal or professional life. Keep practicing and stay mindful of your listening, and you'll continue to see great improvements in your ability to understand and participate in English conversations. As you continue practicing active listening, it's helpful to remember that this skill goes beyond just verbal conversations. It also applies to reading and understanding different types of written content. For example, when you read a book or article in English, try to focus on the meaning behind the words, not just the words themselves. Pay attention to how the author organizes ideas and try to follow the main arguments and points they are making. By practicing active reading, you can improve your comprehension skills and strengthen your overall understanding of English. In daily conversation, active listening can help you understand cultural differences in communication. For instance, people from different cultures might express themselves in unique ways. Some cultures may place a high value on politeness and indirect speech, while others might favor directness and clarity. Being an active listener helps you identify these cultural cues and respond appropriately, avoiding potential misunderstandings. It also allows you to appreciate the richness of different communication styles. Another benefit of active listening is that it improves your ability to provide feedback. When you're actively listening, you can respond with meaningful feedback that reflects your understanding of the conversation. This might involve offering constructive advice, asking thoughtful questions, or even simply acknowledging the other person's feelings. For example, if a colleague shares a challenge they faced at work, instead of just offering a solution, you could say, "I understand that must have been frustrating. How did you handle it?" This kind of response shows that you're not just listening but also processing and reflecting on the conversation. Active listening also plays a key role in learning new things. When you're fully engaged in listening, you're absorbing information more effectively. In a learning environment, whether you're attending a class or listening to a lecture, focusing on what's being said helps you retain the material. Instead of thinking about your response or letting your mind wander, stay focused on the speaker's message. This way, you can ask relevant questions and deepen your understanding of the topic at hand. It's also important to recognize that sometimes active listening means giving space for silence. There's no need to fill every pause with words. Sometimes the speaker might need time to gather their thoughts, or they might be reflecting on what they just said. By allowing these pauses, you're showing respect for the speaker's process, and in those moments of silence, you have the chance to reflect on what you've heard, making your next response more thoughtful and informed. Additionally, active listening strengthens your ability to multitask effectively. By focusing on the conversation, you become better at processing information while also thinking ahead to your next response. For example, in a business meeting, while listening to a colleague's report, you might already be considering the questions you want to ask or the points you want to discuss. This doesn't mean you're not paying attention. Rather, you're efficiently processing the information in real time, preparing to contribute thoughtfully to the conversation. Building these skills doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, active listening becomes second nature. Over time, you'll notice that conversations feel more meaningful and that you're able to communicate more effectively in English. You'll be able to understand others with more clarity, engage in deeper discussions, and make connections with people more easily. In the workplace, being an active listener can set you apart as a leader or someone who is genuinely interested in others' ideas. Whether you're participating in a team meeting or offering feedback to a colleague, your active listening skills will help you make more informed and thoughtful contributions. People appreciate being heard, and when they know you're truly listening to their ideas, they're more likely to trust you and value your input. One final point to consider is the role of nonverbal communication in active listening. While you're listening, your body language also plays a big part in showing that you're engaged. Nodding occasionally, maintaining eye contact, and leaning slightly forward all communicate that you're fully involved in the conversation. These small gestures can make a big difference in how the speaker perceives your level of interest. Even in virtual meetings, where body language might be less obvious, using verbal cues like "I see that," "makes sense," or "tell me more," can demonstrate your engagement and attentiveness. As you become more aware of these techniques, you'll find yourself improving not only your listening skills but also your overall ability to communicate in English. You'll become more confident in conversations, whether you're speaking with a friend, a colleague, or even in a professional setting. Active listening is one of the most valuable tools in any conversation. It helps you understand, connect, and respond with empathy. The more you practice, the more naturally it will come to you. Remember, the goal of active listening is to truly understand the message being conveyed, so focus on the speaker, consider their tone and body language, and absorb their words fully before responding. With time and patience, you'll see significant improvements in your English communication skills. Keep practicing, and you'll continue to enhance your ability to participate in meaningful, effective, and confident conversations.